Hi, I'm Levy, your friendly neighborhood Chibi Leviathan, and I'll be recapping part 2 of the Royal Explorer Society, The Ruins of Val shaheim, Session 1. We begin with Dirk having a dream of a weeping angel, blood coming from its eyes, a building falling upon him, the impact knocking him into consciousness. He yells out and looks for the party, making sure that everyone is there. Finds Aladdin, the other member of our crew who has been infected with these crystals from eating the crystalline fruit, and interrogates him. Apparently, they shared a very similar dream. Our cleric Stug decides to experiment upon them to see why they are glowing in the way that they are from their exposure to the crystals, and is able to, with direction from the professor, safely extract a crystal from Aladdin's hand, revealing that the glowing is in fact coming from the bones within them that have turned into crystal, and the crystals themselves seem to be growing from those bones. It seems that the arc stones are fully infused with them, and Dirk's entire arms are turning into Arkstone. As we begin to explore that morning, Dirk finds a hole nearby that seems to lead to a den of some kind of animal, perhaps. He explores it with Prim, my Drake companion, and they decide to turn back and get the rest of the group before trying to explore it fully. We do explore it as we and the entire crew from the ship start to venture forth into the city of Val shaheim further, and decide that whatever is in there, should it come to be aggressive, would not be something we would like to face. So we decide not to fully explore these tunnels and instead continue on. We are met at a point later on with some large centipede-like monster that seems to be eating and melting the arc stone. We try to reason with it, casting Speak with Animals. My ranger tries to appease it and have it show us what it's doing, allow us to handle some of the arc stone, or potentially get it to aid us. However, it seems that the centipede, apart from being willing to ignore us if we leave it be, seems to be very defensive of us and willing to get aggressive should we misstep. So, we do not further impede it. Instead, we continue further into Val shaheim, and as we arrive, there is a chasm going deeper in. We begin to climb down onto the top of a building and decide to leave behind Jimbo, Terry, Sinbad, Finn, and Huckleberry, some of our sailors, and take with us Aladdin, Tom, and Craig, the captain, the professor, and the young professor's assistant. We venture deeper into this building after we're able to pry the door on top open. It's described to us to be very futuristic with many, many windows, leading us to believe that it seems to be from a society that was much more modern than that of our fantasy land. When we are exploring inside of the building, which Mittens goes to do first with Prim escorting, there is a red light flashing that we are unaccustomed to. It says exit on it and has an arrow pointing down. Mittens is unwilling to go past this, fearing that it is some kind of danger, and it takes the rest of us grouping together to move past this area and down the stairwell. We continue to descend until we are unable to, blocked by rubble. It seems that the staircase past this area is completely destroyed or full of rubble from something collapsing. We then explore that floor and try to discern how we can further descend into the building. The place that we enter into has these narrow hallways and rooms to each side with these little figures of people on them with straight legs and little triangles. We explore these rooms, and Dirk decides that the little porcelain aperture on the wall is something that will be a receptacle for his urine. So he pees in the urinal and decides that these are actually lavatories. So we leave them be and continue on our way, where we are met with a large room with many racks of withered and destroyed clothing. It seems to have simply not withstood the test of time. There are these large statues that seem to be wearing some of these tatters that we are not sure why they're there. Stug, who has decided that he wants to seize the means of production and defeat the oligarch somewhere in between chapters 1 and 2, decides that they are portent of his machine god and need to be protected, that this is some kind of temple to him. And Maeve, utterly and completely disdained at her clerics and her supposed vassals' lack of loyalty to the existing gods, decides that these statues need to be destroyed and begins knocking them over, causing Stug to panic and begin mending every single one that he can. We do find some clothing that is perhaps passable or fixable, and take some of it with us. A lovely hat our monk Beauregard finds and puts on. And as we continue to explore this full floor, we split the party a little bit, allowing the professor and the young lad to stay with the captain, while the three sailors wander off in a different direction, and the party explores these different types of clothing, with Stug trying to mend the statues. Maeve is content with destroying. All of a sudden, we hear screaming coming off in the distance, and we rush off towards it. It seems that our sailors are under attack, and when we arrive, we are greeted with a scene of two eviscerated bodies and no sign of their assailant. And that is where we leave off this session.